They're going to be right in there. The Dallas Cowboys, Tony, Jerry Jones you must have a ton of dirt on Jerry Jones, or is he your illegitimate father? I mean, please, this guy could screw up a you know what kind of dream. I'm keeping a PG here, Mickey. Be proud of me.
Thank you.
But fill in the blanks. My gosh, I have to talk like this because I don't know what this guy's still doing. Why he hasn't been traded. And did you know that just a couple of weeks ago, they re-signed him for an ass load of money?
Like $110 million or something.
Can you explain this to me?
Yes, it makes no sense. That's my explanation. Jerry Jones doesn't know what he's doing. He wants so much to believe that Tony Romo can lead him to the Super Bowl that he's paying him as if he can. He's paying him as if he already has. He's paying him as if he's been the league MVP, or at least as if he, can come through in the clutch, which he can't. Good Lord, I tell you, football is an extremely complicated sport. But so many teams, all you need to know is who's the head coach, who's the owner, and who's the starting quarterback. And in the case of Dallas,
maybe the general manager.
That tells the story. That tells the story. Jerry Jones, I remember reading a story from last season. I don't know who it was one of their linemen. After a game, or maybe it was after practice, Jerry Jones, the owner, walked into the locker room and he said 3 words to one of his players, and that was enough to get this player in just completely steamed, and basically in a shouting match, which, you're taking your career in your hands when you get in a shouting match in the locker room in front of all your teammates with the owner of the team. But the 3 words to this lineman were, "We need you." All right. Jerry Jones, kind of like Al Davis, but in a different way, has always seen that his role is not just owner. His role is to be actively involved in running that team, which in the way which in his way of thinking, it includes getting in there, talking to the players, telling them what he thinks they ought to know about football and preparation and mental preparation and all that. It's going to be another long year. That stadium, the Giants the Cowgirls have a pretty bad record. If you're a betting man, you should know this by now. If you followed Dallas since they built that new stadium with that 60-foot high screen, which sometimes they hit on punts with the football, they don't cover the spread at home. On rare occasions when they win at home, they win by 1 point or something, and they don't cover the spread. Frequently they lose at home. They lose their home games against the Giants, I'll tell you that much. And what is it? I don't know, they built $1 billion stadium. Okay, so it's a tribute to Jerry Jones's ego, which is colossal, which is kind of like a lot of other NFL owners and sports team owners, but it's just crazy. They've got decent talent. They've had a good defense over the years. Romo is a limitation. Jones's meddling as a coach is a limitation. They're not going to win the division. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're going to be, 500 or thereabouts. They may be a game or 2 above 500. I wouldn't be too surprised. Not 2. They won't finish 10-6. They'll either be 8-8 or 9-7 or 7-9. Typical middle of the pack NFL team. It's another learning opportunity for the Dallas Cowboys this year. But they've had the same learning opportunity the last year, and the year before, and the year before, and they haven't learned. So what's going to be different this year? I don't know. The details will be different, but the bottom line will be the same.
So after all those brilliant atrocities, they're still going to finish ahead of the Beagles?
Yes. Because they've got talent elsewhere on the field. Romo he's a good quarterback. He's just not great. He's not good enough to win the playoffs. He chokes at crunch time.
Listen, folks, we couldn't be more in disagreement, because here's what I see happening. All the points that he just made, I can add more points that show you that Dallas is going to be the same Dallas that they've been for years.
That's what I'm saying.
Because nothing's changed there.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Tony Romo is not the quarterback. He's more of your Mark Sanchez-esque quarterback.
No,
he cannot get it done.
He's better than Sanchez.
And even if he is better, the total cohesive unit is not there. I'll throw out a couple of players out there that just tell you that the Eagles flying high. Now, Felix Jones.
Are you going to talk about the Eagles again, or the Cowboys?
No, Felix. I'm talking about.
We already spent about a half an hour on the Eagles. And they stink.
Well,
they stink, Joey.
You brought it up, or I should say, you brought it down.
Yeah.
All I was doing was responding. I didn't even bring it up.
Okay, go for it.
Now, as far as Felix Jones, one of their star running backs, just recently, they went ahead and let him go, and he's been traded. Can't remember the team that he's going to, but here's the thing: he was one of the bright spots in the running game from Dallas. And if Tony Romo needed anything to get his confidence back, he needed what we've often referred to in the NFL for years and years and decades and decades and decades. as a balance between a running game and a passing game so that one can complement the other. So even when they got that going, it looks like Dallas is going to have to rebuild that. They're aged on their defense in many areas with players like Brookings, who came from Atlanta and was a big star for them for a long time. Well, now he's kind of over the hill. So what's going to happen there? The other areas that I have problems with Dallas is with their receiver core. But the biggest problem that plays in with the receiver core is exactly what you're talking about. It's the prima donna syndrome, which you so well illustrated, and I've agreed with, and I've said is a problem with a lot of teams also, and we talked about that earlier in this segment. That's the problem with Dallas. So if you have an owner like Jerry Jones, who has more power and is equivalent to the most power in an NFL organization, being the general manager and being the owner of the team, being involved in the team, and spoiling his players so much that he can't even offer constructive criticism, guess what, Dallas? That is an absolute recipe for continued dysfunctionality and a acceptance of being mediocre in the NFL. And that's what Dallas is going to continue to be. Chip Kelly will put a spark where there is no spark in Dallas. Washington has some excitement, and they have some players, and they have some momentum coming in from last season. So this division, Dallas isn't going to be put in last place because of the other teams. They're going to be put there despite themselves, and they're going to be their worst enemy in that division.
Couldn't have said it more, except they'll still beat the Beagles.
I know I impressed you.
Joey, that was well
My
said.
argument was well.
That was well said.